Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I need you to stop, drop, and dance to the Hamster song.
Here we go. Let's try it. You're catching on.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. You are listening to a very special episode of The Universe in a Seashell. This is the Hamster episode of the podcast. It's what you've all been waiting for. I am joined by the hamster enthusiast herself, Penny. Penny, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
Now, I understand that you have a very special shout out for your very special episode. Who do you want to shout out to?
Mary Beth. She's been listening to my podcasts.
And you really love Mary Beth, don't you?
Yeah.
She's somebody that you look up to?
Yes.
She's always super good to you and plays hide and seek and colors with you too, doesn't she?
Yes.
Well, Mary Beth, big shout out to you, and I hope that you are enjoying your Thanksgiving Day feast. Now, for anybody who has been listening to the podcast, they may have some background on why you are particularly passionate about hamsters. But for folks who might just be tuning in for the very first time, I want to give a little bit of background. Now, Penny, you chime in whenever you feel it might be necessary.
Yeah.
Well, Penny's grandparents went on a road trip recently. They took their RV up to the northeastern part of the United States. In fact, they went through all of those states, including a very special state that kind of spurred this entire line of inquiry.
I miss them.
You missed them when they were on there?
Yes.
Well, what was that state that they were visiting where you became especially concerned about your grandparents?
Gigi and Papa?
Yeah.
I mean?
What state were they in?
New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampster, okay? Now, for most Americans, we know that as New Hampshire, but of course, in Penny's world, which she's very creative, and she kind of moves to the beat of her own drum, she heard that as New Hampster. Now, she became very concerned about rodent attacks. She was under the impression that there was a lot of savage hamsters that could be found in New Hampshire and that they might try to chew through her Gigi and Papa's camper doors, right?
Yeah. They always like to chew for stuff.
Hamsters do like to chew. So I called up her Gigi and Papa just to confirm that they weren't being savagely mauled by any caged rodents. And we were able to make sure that they were okay. We confirmed their safety. Yes, it was very touch and go there for a while. But her Gigi was so touched that she sent you a hamster in the mail, didn't she?
Yes.
But it wasn't a real hamster, was it?
It's a fake hamster. It's copying my words.
Yes, it was a little hamster that would repeat everything that you say back in a hamster voice that kind of would be like, if you said, I would like a hot dog for lunch, the hamster would say, I would like a hot dog for lunch! Is that right?
Yeah.
What did you name your hamster?
Mary Beth.
Oh, you named it Mary Beth. Okay, so
Quite this day.
ever since this incident, Penny has been extremely interested in hamsters, and she has been wanting to do a hamster podcast. So guess what, guys? We're going to talk all things hamster today. So are you ready, Penny?
Yeah.
Now remember, if you're enjoying the podcast, if you're liking what you hear, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button or that notification button. Leave us a rating and review. That really helps raise the visibility of the podcast, because guess what, guys? The Universe in a Seashell is all about making this world a more equal and opportune place, one girl at a time. And we can't do that alone, can we, Penny?
No.
All right. Now, hamsters are rodents. Okay, now a rodent is like a rat, a mouse, those
Like
kind
a
of...
hamster?
Right, and a hamster is actually in that classification of animal, okay?
Yes, but it's at the top classification.
Oh, it's
it's
at the
called.
top? Because
Yeah.
you like hamsters.
Yeah. I
Now-
know of it.
Hamster actually comes from the German word hamstern, which means to hoard. Because guess what hamsters really like to do?
Chew.
They do like to chew, but they also like to keep a lot of things, okay? It's called hoarding sometimes. So, like, let's say, for example, they find a nut, and then they find another nut, and then they find another nut. What they're going to do is they're going to take all of the nuts that they find, and they're going to stick it in a very special place where no other hamster can get it, okay? It's called hoarding. And that's how they got their name. Now, hamsters are a type of
Animal.
Yes, they're a type of animal, but they have a particular time of day that they like to be out. So we know that there are nocturnal animals, which means they like to be out at nighttime, right? Like wolves.
But not like kitty cat is named Mouse.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about kitty cats. They kind of like to be out at random times. But hamsters are actually crepuscular. Okay, so this is probably a brand new word to a lot of folks out there. Crepuscular, and that means that they like to be active in the twilight times. Now, the reason that they do this is they're trying to evade predators. Okay, so in the wild, hamsters are snacks for other animals. Okay, like birds, wolves, maybe even bigger rodents, okay? So they like to hang out during that twilight period of time, and they generally try to stay underground when they're not hanging out foraging for food. Now, the types of food that they like to eat are seeds, fruit,
and nuts.
Yes, they love nuts. Now, but they will also occasionally eat insects.
Ew.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. That's kind of their little treat, okay? Now, they are stout little guys, meaning they're kind of short and chunky, okay?
Nubby.
Yeah, they're kind of cute, right? All kind of squishy looking. Now,
They look cute. I want a hamster.
well, you have that talking hamster.
Yeah, but it's not real.
No, it's not real. That's my favorite kind of hamster. That hamster doesn't poop. Now, it does repeat everything I say in that voice, but I think I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can deal with that.
Now, listen.
Better.
Here is what really distinguishes hamsters. They've got chubby little cheeks, which they call pouches. Now, do you know what those little chubby cheeks are for?
I don't know.
For storing food, okay? They'll chew their food and they'll put it in their little cheeks. So there are some other rodents that like to do that, like chipmunks and squirrels. Have you ever noticed their chubby little cheeks?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Hamsters have the same thing going for them.
I saw a hamster under the slide.
Was it a real hamster?
Yeah.
It was an
played
escaped
with it.
hamster.
I played with it.
Okay.
I hide it from my friends.
Now,
Somewhere where it
hamsters
gets
aren't
better.
really native to this part of Texas, so the only explanation could be that it was escaped from maybe like a class pet.
It's our class pet. It sneaked out of its cage because when we were sleeping, he sneaked out of it.
Okay.
But I
I'm
got
not sure
him.
I'm believing you here,
No.
Penny.
So I got him in his cage and locked it up really tight. So
Yeah,
I can't
you
get
have
out.
to. Now, you're hitting on my next point, which is that the way that we generally know hamsters, because again, they're not native around here, is the little guys that live in the cage. They're pets, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people have hamsters as
We
pets.
always have a lot of class pets.
Hamsters?
Like everything in my class pet is in my...
Now, the hamsters that we see that are class pets and that are sometimes used in laboratories descend from Syrian hamsters. In fact, listen to this, guys. This is crazy. All of the the majority of the hamster population that we see being sold in pet stores or that you can find in labs actually descended from a single brother-sister pairing, okay?
What does that mean?
That means there was one mom and one dad, and they made all of the hamsters that we generally come across here in North America. It's kind of crazy, right? Now, I actually have the story. The litter mates were actually captured and imported in 1930 from Aleppo, which is in Syria, by a gentleman named Israel Aharoni, and he was a zoologist from the University of Jerusalem. Now, that's pretty specific. I had no idea that hamsters came from just one mom and one dad. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah. Do you have a lot of babies? One dad and one mom?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. We're about to talk about how many babies hamsters actually have. Now, but before that, listen, hamsters are territorial. Did you know that? Yes, they absolutely value their personal space to the point that they will sometimes fight other hamsters to the death if they invade their territory. Can you believe that?
I can't.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now, Syrian hamsters, the ones that we're talking about, they're extremely territorial, okay? Now, you had already mentioned that hamsters have a lot of babies, right?
Yeah.
Not just like one brother, one sister?
You
Okay.
have a lot of babies, like 18 or 14 or 100.
Yeah, they do. Now, here's why. A normal human mommy, it takes 9 months for the baby to grow in their belly. Okay, 9 months. That's a long time, right?
Yeah, when I was a baby, you have to take that, and you told me it was hurting all the time.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And you couldn't poop or pee. And you needed to go really bad.
Yeah, I was just kind of constipated, but yeah, pregnancy is no fun. But listen to how long hamsters are actually pregnant for. The scientific term is gestation cycle. That means how long are they in their mommy's tummy? It's only 16 to 30 days. So that's about a half a month to a month. Now, if the birth conditions are not right for the hamster, they can delay their birth by as many as 9 days. But in general, it only takes 16 to 30 days to grow a baby hamster. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's why they have so many baby hamsters. Now, hamsters do love to run, because what do we see a lot of times in hamster cages? What is that thing that goes round and around in those hamster cages?
They run and they drink.
They run and they drink, but it's those wheels, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
What wheels?
So hamsters, a lot of times, to get exercise in their cages, will have a wheel that goes round and around, and the hamster can get in the wheel and run. But look what my research turned up. Now, if their wheels are too small, it can actually cause the hamsters pain, spinal problems, and even arthritis. So you have to make sure, if your hamster has a wheel, that it is the right size. Now, some hamsters, if that wheel is too small, they won't even get in it, and they won't get any physical activity, which is not good for the hamster either. Now, but you could also get, have you seen hamster balls? Okay, so they're these really cool, clear balls that you can put a hamster in.
I know, but there's also pink or red.
Yes, and you can put them in there, and they can run around the house and hang out. Now, my fear would be that Bob would try to eat the hamster ball. Bob's our crazy wiener beagle dog.
He might eat the hamster and he might swallow it.
We wouldn't let him swallow a hamster, would we? Okay.
It's a class pet.
So I want to talk about some basic hamster care that I found from the Petco website, because there's probably a lot of kids out there who are thinking about getting a hamster, or who might already have a hamster. So if you do want to get a pet hamster, let's talk the basics of hamster care. Now, hamsters can actually learn their names. And if you talk to them a lot, they will get used to knowing their name. Now, if you had a hamster besides your little guy named Mary Beth, what would be a good name for a hamster? Because we already have Mary Beth. That's the talking hamster.
Chucky.
Chucky. That's a cute name for a hamster. Okay, so remember, if you talk to your hamster and you say their name, they can actually learn their name. Now, hamsters' teeth are always growing, so you have to give them chew toy sticks or something that keeps their teeth worn down, because you don't want them to grow, and then it would hurt their mouths and hurt their faces, right?
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't be able to eat properly, would they? Now, as far as pooing and peeing go, because remember, this is a big part of having a pet. You've got to make sure that you clean up after them. Hamsters have a tendency to relieve themselves in just one or two corners of their cage. And if you can identify that corner, you need to make sure that you're scooping it out daily and putting in fresh bedding there. Okay?
Why?
It's because you don't want them to have a stinky cage, right?
Oh.
Yeah, that would be gross to have a stinky cage.
Is Cece doing the other podcast?
Yeah, Cece's going to do the other podcast.
And I'll play with the stuffed animals?
Yeah, you can play with the stuffed animals. But before that, we've got to finish your hamster podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so hamsters also do not like extreme temperatures. So don't place their cage in direct sunlight or near a vent or a fan or anything like that. They like things to be kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, they also like to hide, and especially when they sleep. They like to burrow down and basically try to feel safe from predators because they continue to have that instinct even if they're living in a cage in somebody's
They're kind of
house.
scared.
Yeah, they're scared. They don't want to get eaten by something much bigger than them. Now, hamsters will bite you, okay?
Ew.
Yeah, you do not want to get bitten by a hamster because remember, they've got kind of sharp teeth. Now, the reason that they bite is that they're probably scared. So here's what Petco says to do to make sure that you don't get bitten. They say approach the hamster from the side and say their name. So if it were you, you would have to go up to Chucky and say, "Hey, Chucky, I'm coming over. I've got to scoop some of your poop out of the cage. I just want to let you know that I'm here." Right?
Yeah.
Does that work?
That's really funny.
And if they're asleep, you can't just go up to them and be like, "Hey, Chucky, wake up!" That would not be nice. Then you might get bit, okay? You've got to make sure that it's hamster etiquette.
Okay, I'll get them baby bottle if they cry.
Okay, well,
Creepy.
I don't know about baby bottles, but they do like fruits and veggies. And here's what Petco recommends. They said while they should only be about 10% of their total diet, the fruits and veggies, they do like a few bites of banana, strawberry, carrot, or lettuce. That's all good, healthy treats for hamsters. But you have to make sure that you take
Like
the
a
uneaten...
strawberry?
Yeah, like a strawberry. You got to make sure that you take out the uneaten pieces from their cage so it doesn't rot and stink everything up. Okay?
Ew.
Now, hamsters love having a clean cage. So you have to wash your hamster's cage out with warm soapy water. Don't use any harsh cleaning products like an ammonia-based cleaner, Windex, anything like that. You have to make sure you're just using soap and water. Something very mild.
Like orange soap or something?
Yeah, like an orange soap. Like
we have?
Yeah, that would work perfect. Now, hamsters love to burrow in their bedding, so you have to make sure that they've got crumpled paper or shavings, but don't use cedar-based products. Never ever feed your hamster caffeine, chocolate, or alcohol, okay? These can...
Or soda.
No soda, okay? Now, hamsters do have a great sense of smell, but terrible eyesight. They do like to store food in their little fat cheeks.
I'll store food in them. Like cookie.
Put a cookie in your cheek?
No.
Could you put a whole sandwich in your cheek?
No.
Now
I'll
listen.
put a little tiny bread.
Little bread in your cheek?
Is that good for hamsters, bread?
No, hamsters need their own special food that you can buy at pet stores.
Carrots?
And fruits and vegetables. Okay. Now, with proper care, hamsters will live between 2 and 3 years. Okay. So that's,
I want them to die.
Yeah, but they just don't have a very long life expectancy. You have to also make sure that they're getting enough proper exercise, get a wheel that's the proper size, and also consider having a hamster ball. So they seem like pretty low maintenance pets, but they could also be a lot of fun as long as you don't sneak up on them and yell out, "Hey, Chucky, wake up!" right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of creepy when it's like, I would just say, Chucky, wake up.
Oh, you would say it nice and gentle?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to add about hamsters?
They're cute and nice and poochie ducky.
So are you happy that you finally did your hamster podcast?
Yes.
Well, thank you, Penny. High five. And what do we always say about girl power?
Hamster power.
Hamster power. Happy Thanksgiving, guys, and thank you so much for listening.
Here we go. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Alright, everybody, now here we go. It's a brand new version of the do-si-do. Just stomp your feet and clap your hands. Come on, everybody, it's the hamster dance. Bouncing time to the beat. Hey, you don't even have to move your feet. Just shake your thing, let me see you move. Now spin around and feel the groove.
Let's try it.